The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and false
news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these stories simply aren't true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think, and this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
As the world watches and listens in horror, the peaceful pro-democracy demonstration in China comes to a violent and bloody end.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Wolves hiding nearby, whispering do or die around me. You say your last good night while I get
There is another very important phase of warfare. It has as its target not the body, but the mind of the enemy.
The target of psychological warfare is against the enemy's mind.
It is words and ideas.
The ammunition used by Psywar.
Its mission is to influence the thoughts of the enemy soldier, and at the same time
is expected and encouraged to study foreign languages and the social sciences such as history, economics, and sociology. He must have a broad and sympathetic understanding of all phases of human experience.
gripping at my skin, the walls of night closing.
but the use of this force as an integral part of combat has now taken on new form.
As I wait to say my last goodbye.
These are the Psywar soldiers.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the individual speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views of the host, producers, or any affiliated organization. This podcast may include sensitive discussion related to topics such as child protection, abuse, and criminal behavior. The content is intended for informational, educational, and awareness purposes only, does not constitute legal, medical, or professional advice. Any reference to individuals, cases, or events are based on personal perspective, professional experience, or publicly available information and should not be interpreted as statements of fact regarding any specific person or situation. The host, speakers, and producers disclaim any liability for actions taken by listeners based on the content of this podcast. Listeners are encouraged to seek qualified professional guidance for their specific circumstances. Listeners' discretion is advised. All individuals are presumed innocent unless proven guilty in a court of law. All right. Welcome, everybody, to Thursday night's edition to Caught Up. How are you guys doing?
Good. You?
Yeah.
I mean, I rushed home to get it here in just time to get here.
Just in time. Me and Heath was wondering. We didn't see you in there in the beginning, so.
Yeah. I just pulled in the driveway, got out the truck, come in the house, and I got the text, and I'm like, get the laptop set up and go. So.
Was you out voting?
Huh?
Was you out voting?
To bring it in, I was going to have it stuck on my head. I've got to bring it in. I was going to be the new Jason. I voted on my head.
I voted. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about the voting that's going on in our county, and then we'll let Heath tell us about how voting doesn't work and why it's not real. and I'll agree with most of it, other than the part he just keeps taking it down the rabbit hole. But we'll give him some time to talk about that, because that's what Caught Up is all about. Is this type of stuff right here. So, how you been, Heath?
I've been good.
That's cool.
Hopefully y'all have too.
Yeah.
The election thing. I mean, last night that podcast was great.
You mean on Tuesday
with Heather gal on the flock cameras. Did you see a few minutes ago? I don't know how it's going to work out. I suspect that the county's probably going to tell me I owe them $1 million, and if I give them $1 million, then they'll honor my request. But I've been working with the AI and blah, 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 trying to figure out the technical, legal method. If I say I want all the information from all of that you've gathered on flock cameras, they're going to tell me to get screwed.
Right, yeah.
But according to the AI and according to what research I've done, if I asked specifically, if I said, okay, the camera at the library, can you tell me which third parties have accessed that data this month, how many times, and for what duration, then most likely they have to honor a request like that.
It's all how you word it, ain't it?
Yeah.
How about you, Scrappydog? What'd you think about the show on Tuesday night with Heather?
I liked it. It. It's really informational. And David Knight went on Maryville. What's it? That website she's talking about? No.
Maryville Privacy.
Maryville Privacy.
Yeah.
It seems that Maryville City is in the process of buying a drone.
Huh.
$600,000 a year.
Yeah, and they don't own it.
No,
it's you're buying the usage rights.
But you know, Blount County is going to want to use it. Alcoa is going to want to use it,
or they'll get their own. Once one does, then it'll be
that's what the excuse they'll give is we have to spend this much money to use theirs. We'll just get our own, and you all can pay for your surveillance, because 2023. Tennessee State legislature voted it that you can surveil people's property with a drone legally.
I will say this. We are considered to be in a buffer zone for Oak Ridge. And the reason that matters is if I go, for instance, right now, if a sheriff's department had a drone and they wanted to fly it over my house, if I go to the FFA, they have to log a flight plan with the FFA.
Right.
They can't just secretly, hide in the trees above the house looking at me. I mean, they can, but you can legally, they have to post their flight plan.
Yeah.
So you can go. It's like a lot of times when we'll see stuff like, I would argue that they've already got drones, but that's another topic for another day.
It's possible, because I know Knoxville does.
There's been several times where we've seen stuff like, what the hell is that up there in the sky? What is that? Are y'all seeing this? And we'll get on the computer and go to the FFA's website, and it's like, well, wait a minute. There's nothing that should be in that airspace at that time.
Right.
And then, well, obviously that's some kid with a drone, and he's doing that illegally. Except more times than not, it's bigger than a
Yeah,
a
that's some
hobbyist
kid.
drone.
Yeah. So, Scrappy, did you get a chance to look into United States versus Knots? Did
No.
you see that? I was talking about that on Tuesday night.
Yeah.
It talks about that type of surveillance and how they did what they did. That did make it a Fourth Amendment violation. But then the next year it was a different case, which the name has escaped me. It was in 1984. That one they did where they tracked the individual continuously, no matter where he went, versus just this one specific from point A to point B with whatever illegal substance that they had.
Yeah.
And because of what they did there, like doctor's appointments, religion, all that stuff like that, then they violated that Fourth Amendment right, which the Supreme Court came out unanimously about. So they were saying that because if we're in a vehicle on a public road, that because of that 1983 United States versus Knots, that they're allowed to take pictures of your vehicle, dents, your tag, maybe even a picture of you in the vehicle and in the area that you're driving in. You know what I'm saying? Is how they're trying to justify it. What do you think?
Well, I think that the 19 or 2012
Yep.
law that Bill Haslam signed into that states that your vehicle is an extension of your home. They can take pictures of your the same as them driving by taking pictures of your front of your house. They can take pictures of your vehicle. They can take pictures of your tag. They cannot legally, under that law, take pictures of you inside that vehicle, because that's the same as them coming and settling at your back door, your front door, and poking in your window. A law officer cannot walk on your back. Now, front porch, he can.
Different story.
Different story, but he cannot walk in your backyard and look in your back window. You can't do that. That's illegal.
So with this Adam Lee thing that's going on, I reached out to somebody that I hope it's his sister from the bakery to see if we could get one or both of them to come on and just talk about what happened, more or less. But I'm afraid that they're going to try to use those things with United States versus Knots as what he did was, I guess, maybe a violent. I don't know what you think they'll call it an insurrection. Does anybody know what the charge is?
They've got him under felony.
Destruction of property.
Destruction of property, yeah. Felony destruction of property is what they got him on.
And
which means he's destroyed property that is, over $10,000.
Yeah, right. And they'll treat it like, even though it's been my understanding that we don't technically own the cameras, that we're basically leasing the use of the cameras, and we're also
the same
paying
as your
them.
cell phone. It's the same as your laptop. It's the same as anything that you've got. That you've got a rental.
Well, like your house. Well,
with.
If you're leasing a house or renting a house, while the time that you're in possession of that house, it's pretty much yours for legal purposes.
Yep.
So
it
the
is.
camera. So although the cameras aren't technically county property, because they are in legal capacity utilizing them and paying for use of them, they act as county property, so they can charge you with destruction of government property.
Somebody got to pay for it.
Yeah. So did they charge him with like a discharge of a weapon?
Well, it depends on where he did the discharge. The Maryville City, possibly they could throw that in there, but in the county, unless it was in a highly
residential,
highly residential populated area, most they can get him for is reckless endangerment on that case, because it's not illegal to discharge a firearm in Blount County. City of Alcoa, City of Maryville is a different story.
But what if you're in the commission of a felony?
That's what I'm asking, basically.
But again, that's reckless endangerment.
Right. Kim wants to
if you shoot somebody's house, you don't shoot nobody in that house. That's reckless endangerment.
Right.
My
Kim wants to
son
know
takes that whole charge. My youngest. So,
Scrappy, Kim wants to know if you can reclaim your time.
I will when I need to. He starts over talking. I'm gonna start reclaim my time. I seen that. Seen that on there.
At the end of the show, when you and I we were talking, or near the end of the show on our last one, we were talking about we were going to handle it like the commission. You get 3 minutes each.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can't talk over the other one. You know, that kind of stuff. So,
well, if we're going to handle like the commission, then we got 10 minutes to speak, and then we got to shut up.
Oh no, not that 10 minutes, not that one. No, that's wait a minute, that's way too long to give Heath for damn sure. Look, yeah. So we got.
Then I'll be reclaim. That's when I'll do it. I'll reclaim my time.
Oh my God, you sound just like it.
I'm gonna file a grievance.
You're gonna file a grievance. That is funny. So it's a rough road ahead. Wouldn't you guys agree with with what he's done and the fact that he's running for office? I know we're going to hold off on the election things, but I did write his name in today for for the position he was running for.
I'll put Jeff in. I'd rather have Jeff up on it.
Jeff who?
Coggins.
Then Adam Lee.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, I like what he done, and I agree with what he done. But I like Jeff. Jeff's got a good. I think he's going to be willing to stand up, and with these cases facing against him, I guarantee you, if he does happen to get the nomination, then there'll be a big stink if he gets voted in over Tom Stinnett. No
one heard. I never heard of him until the Flock incident.
I hadn't either.
You know what I mean? And then I found out
that's a great way to get your name out there, but he should have done it about 3 months ago.
But he had no doubt. But he did what everybody's thinking or wanting to do. Or
what we're being compelled to do.
Right. Well, exactly. Yeah.
I called my buddy Bradley Dean and told him about it. He was talking about Flock cameras on Sons of Liberty, and I called him and I told him about it, and I said, he Tom or Burchett's up there talking. All he's doing is making a big talk. This dude did he put his feet to his mouth and did the action. But it's going to be like I said, it's going to be hard. It's going to be a long, hard road for him. He's going to have some good out of state
legal. Help
legalization because if he tries to do it in Blount County with Blount County, ain't gonna happen. They'll railroad him right straight into a little 1-2 year stay at Blount County Hilton.
So the other night, Heath, you were talking about these programs or other, not just Flock cameras or whatever. Why don't you elaborate a little bit on that, what the programs are doing and what it could potentially be? I know Heather was saying it's all the research that she's done says some of these things aren't doing that. We're not saying that they can't do that, but the information that was given back to her, they're saying they're not doing that. So
some of the programs, like they're not just reading just your license plate. I mean, I had a car taken out of my driveway. It ended up turning out that my mother's landlord had my car towed out of my driveway. I didn't know, so I did like any smart person. I mean, I've tried to file the car reported as stolen. Allegedly in Tennessee, when a car is towed, the tow yard is supposed to, when it's towed from a private residence, the person towing the vehicle, they're supposed to notify the property, that
they notify dispatch is who they notify.
Yeah, and nobody notified me or nothing. So I'm running around with chicken my head cut off thinking my car was stolen. And later, my mother's landlord just pretty much comes out, man, yeah, I had it towed because you pissed me off. Fuck you. Okay, so we go to GW Towing or whatever, pick up my car. At the time, my license was still revoked. I was working on getting it back. I had insurance, but I didn't have my license back, whatever. We pick up the car. Now I got to get that car removed from the fact that it's marked as stolen. I figure I'll do this. I'm taking my car, get my car home safe and sound, and then I'll worry about calling sheriff's departments, all that shit. We make it back here to the house. I call sheriff's department, and I was like, look, my car, I tried to report my car stolen. I don't know where that went, where it didn't went. I have, in fact, located it. I've just went and picked it up, blah, blah, blah. Happened to be, I got lucky, and the officer that they had returned my call was one that I knew. And he's like, Heath, I'm just curious. Was you here? Was you here? Was you here? Was you here? And I'm like, dude, I mean, shit, you knew my whole fucking day. So what are you doing? Follow me around? I mean, he's like, oh, no. Since you did, in fact, report the car stolen, the minute that you do that, the way he explained it to me, it's a lot of it is automated. And that what happens is that the sheriff's department puts a be on the lookout for whatever, blah, 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 blah. A lot of their tools automatically respond in a certain way, including but not limited to any cameras that are connected to that system. They start monitoring for a hit, and when it receives a hit, then they all of a sudden start connected. So anyway, he had, like, everywhere I had been in the last 5 hours. He had how many people was in the car, how long the car was at different places. And then I got scared because I got to thinking, okay, well, wait a minute. I know where there's a camera there, and I know where there's one there, but the extent of data that they had on me, it's a lot more than a license plate reader. You see.
So talk about what it is, not the experience that you.
Okay, so the camera. Okay, basically, you said it's just like your phone's camera. This phone takes a picture, right? Well, it can take a picture of your physical body, but hey, I got another app that lets me take the same picture, but it's going to show, instead of showing a still image of your person, it's going to show up as a heat signature. All right? It's just an app. It's just an overlay. They're using that same module, but they're doing different stuff with it. And then they can feed in a set of parameters into that system, into that AI system, and it will piece together. It'll take everywhere where that data, it's just the raw data. And once they've got that raw data, they can tell you, well, hey, it's a license plate reader. If that is what, in fact, they're using that data for. Is that all of the data that's collected? No. That's, at that particular moment, that's the piece of the data that they're using and how they're using it. But it collects. I mean, you can take any phone, and you can go scan and get by one of them cameras and scan specifically Bluetooth. It does a lot of Bluetooth, both incoming and outgoing transmissions, and it's collecting a lot, and it has the ability to connect outside of the Flock network. Like, how they were doing, like, the giving the cops the access to the Ring camera data.
Yeah.
It wasn't just the Ring camera data. That Ring camera data, okay. And the bad part about all of this is most of these systems, they're AI. They're not people. It's AI. Right. Yeah. So once the Ring camera takes and you've allowed consent for that data to be used, okay. Now that Ring camera data, and that Flock camera data, and that Axon camera data, and the facial recognition data from the fucking excuse my language, from the cameras at the Walmart.
Right.
All of that's compiled together.
Yep.
And then now me, little old cop, I sit down and I say, well, I want to paint a picture. I've got this person and I want to paint a picture. I can put that person where I want. I can put him at the time I want. I mean,
it's like Minority Report, basically. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it already exists like that. It's like, even, okay, like right now, if I want to charge 75% more for a can of tuna, I know that I can do it in a certain neighborhood than I can another neighborhood. Why? Well, because everybody uses their shopping cart. And I know that the black people in the hood ain't going to pay 75% more for a can of tuna. However, if I go to the Kroger's over there on North Shore, them people got loads of money and they'll pay that and they won't even question it. It's the same data. It's all just it's how it's utilized. You see, and this thing it collects. It's blanket collecting, and it's doing it even when there's nobody around it. See, that's the thing.
It's raining at my house. If we happen to lose power, it may cut the show, just so you guys know. Why don't you give Scrappy a second and there reclaim his time? What do you think? What do you think about the systems?
There's a lot, like he's saying, there's a lot to them that we don't know. I do know that the data centers are now becoming Bluetooth aware and Bluetooth equipped to be able to not have to be hardwired, let's say hardwired in to the system. They can now talk to each other and other things through Bluetooth themselves. So, you know, it's getting, we're getting Skynet 1.0 right now. You know, they're able to, we're going to be able to do a lot of stuff. But, and with 6G coming in, it's the sky's the limit for that.
That's wild because Heath was talking about frequencies. I think both of you guys have talked about frequencies and what it does. You know what I mean? The whole 6G thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once you hit about 5.5 to 5.8, it takes your red blood cells, and your red blood cells literally, they're supposed to just kind of like vibrate, like and go through your bloodstream. It causes them to
go crazy.
It makes them flip end over end on their axis. So what happens is because they're flipping end over end on their axis, they take up so much surface area. Well, red blood cells, when they take up more surface area, that means there's less of them can move in the same amount of time. And what that relates to in you, that means you have less. It doesn't matter the oxygen that's available to you. You can utilize less of that existing oxygen supply. Right. And they know this. They're basically, it's just the same reason why you cut down all the trees. You know, you take away the oxygen. Yeah.
Anything else about the whole flock before we move on?
I am going to file my Freedom of Information Act request. I am going to. I'm just curious to see to what extent they're going to redact, deny, or just outright say, you know, screw you, you can't have it.
True. So you're going to actually file it like on which? Yeah, that's cool.
Certified mail. I'm going to file it certified mail and everything and wait on a response. I figure they'll probably hit me with a bill and tell me I owe them thousands of dollars for, you know, data entry and processing it and what have you.
That's funny. What about you, Scrap?
Yeah, well, let's just say Ed Reno put on here. He knew they had QR code and readers on oil fields back in 2012. 2012, I was working on a project in Y12. We were setting up a room in an area of the compound where they were hacking. They had 6 separate rooms that were separated from even the Y12 complex. They were isolated completely, 100%. 6 different rooms, each room isolated from each other, from the complex, from everything. Outside the complex, everything. And they were working on hacking into the computers inside the complex.
Huh.
And now we've got all this stuff happening where they're hacking into the water treatment plants, they're hacking into the government offices, they're hacking into this, they're hacking into that. And in that room, there is a conference room that in 2012 had a real-time, they called it a wall talker. It was a real-time, like we're doing right now, conference with DOD in Washington from Y12. Not like Skype where it was patchy, but real-time conferencing in that room in 2012. When back then, 2012, you could probably get your cell phone to play a video without it being, or your laptop to play your video without being choppy and scattered.
All right, so Frankie popped in and said that here it comes from Frankie, and he's absolutely 100% honest. He doesn't have a problem with them talking about the flock cameras, but I don't have a problem with them talking about the flock cameras. I could care less about them gathering information or whatever because, and I don't mean this in a mean or bad way, but I don't do nothing wrong, and I don't do anything that I care for people knowing. So there's that, and I don't have a problem with it. And I would like, and like I've said before, if one of my grandchildren gets kidnapped and helps me find them, I would pay millions of dollars for one had I known it. I know there's going to be mistakes made, but as far as I'm concerned, the good far outweighs the bad.
Well, all I can say is, brother, check on it, read about it. You break 1,000 felonies before you walk out your house every morning.
And not to mention
that's a lot of felonies before you walk out of your house.
That's a lot of felonies before you walk out. It's just there's so many damn laws out there.
Yeah.
That you cannot tie your shoe without committing a felony in some damn state somewhere.
I was inpatient in a hospital, laying in a hospital bed, inpatient. Now, according to the Blount County Sheriff's Department, at the same time, in Greenback, Tennessee, I pulled a gun on 2 of my neighbors. And I had the hospital records. I mean, I was literally in the hospital. This wasn't even possible, right? It didn't matter. The DA, I come in and said, I'm going to tell you what you're going to plead to and how much it's going to cost you. And my poor little lawyer, he starts crying about how, oh, you're innocent, blah, 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 blah. And that's about the time that the DA tells me, well, didn't your mother just survive cancer? Don't you have to get home? And nothing about this case was legitimate. And within 2 weeks, all the cops associated with the case, 2 of them died, 2 of them retired. The so-called neighbor that allegedly filed the charge, he was dead. His girlfriend was gone. Everybody about it was, and my only point is the truth did not fucking matter. And this is what they can do with just taking words on a piece of paper and changing them around. It's a lot harder. Thankfully, they didn't have a doctored surveillance video that they changed the date and time on it, because it would have been real easy to have had a video of, let's say, me walking to go check my mail from a month earlier, and they changed the timestamp on it. Okay, but you can see where I'm going with this.
So Heath,
yeah.
What'd you do?
Okay.
What did I? No. Hang on. I'm really being funny. I was going to say, what did you do for them for them to come after you the way you do? I get what you're saying. I also get what Frankie's saying. There's a group of people out there that think that these things are. They really believe that.
What did I do? I paid them off. After walking into Uno's pizza place, and I go to pay off an attorney who was married to my cousin at the time, and there's a couple DAs, a judge, I'm not going to name them, but I walk in there and I'm going to pay him some money I owe him, and I go to pull $200 out of my right front pocket, and a bag of dope falls out, and a judge and an assistant DA at the time look at me and they're like, hey, he still looks like he's going to have a fun time. I'd like some of that. I paid the debt off with dope. Oh, I know I'm not supposed to, I did my time, and finally I had an epiphany. I said, well, I'm going to get out of all this shit. I'm going to pay them off.
Stop. Yeah. We were only talking about the comment about what Woody had to say. So, I mean, yeah man, that's a rabbit hole.
This town is corrupt from the ground to the bottom.
La, 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 la.
Yeah, I mean,
it's nothing but corruption.
I get there's a lot of corruption in this town.
No, there's more than a lot. There's more than a lot. How many Rio churches have been built in the last 5 years?
Again, it's
They
not
buy
what,
them, they don't build them.
Yeah.
it's so. But what I was trying to say is there's people out there that feel the same way that Woody feels. You know what I mean? That if something happened, there was an abduction or something like that, and the flock cameras were used.
Anything
Okay,
that,
you
that
pissed me
can
off
be,
tonight, and I say that you robbed my house. Okay? And I got a cop that's a friend. And now he produces a video of you being in the vicinity of my house, and they charge you with breaking and entering. What would you do?
they do that with the ping. They do that thing with the ping on
Do
your.
you think that your innocence and
on
you
your
claiming
cell phone.
innocent would
They
help
don't
you?
need a picture. They just got to prove that you was in the area, and, your cell phone pinged on the cell tower that was in the vicinity.
Again,
They
I
can
gotta
do an
ask,
investigation
what
of it.
did you do for you to feel like? And I'm not asking you to go explain, but I just don't see that them coming. Not you. I'm not saying you personally. It doesn't seem like unless you were just,
I spoke out against Elbit Systems Incorporated.
Well,
you know who that is?
No, and
that's a security agency owned by the Mossad. When our Mexican border, who do you think patrols it? Do you think Americans patrol it?
So
no. Just like these drones, when Blount County gets a drone, who you think's going to train that person to fly that drone? Do you think it's going to be an American? No.
So this is where I'm going to disagree with you. I've had the opportunity to be involved in watching a drone set up and everything go into a sheriff's department.
And who built it? What company?
So I'm not going into all that detail. What I can tell you was it was an American that came and showed them how to fly the drone. It wasn't some Israeli dude or some. I mean, it just wasn't. You know what I mean? And I watched all this firsthand. So I'm not saying that what you're saying is not necessarily true, but in most
Did you get
cases,
his last name?
Me, I'm not telling
I
anybody's
guarantee
name.
I guarantee you, he worked for a Five Eyes compliant corporation.
I'm sure, it's because I'll even go this far. I thought it was cool as hell watching all this get set up and how it all worked, all at the same time knowing that it was surveillance on the public. You know what I mean? So, if it's used in the right way, you're not
weapons.
You're not going to get it.
used.
Hang on. If this stuff is used the right way, you're not going to get the mass public to disagree with. With
if
what's
it's
going
used
on.
the right way, well, show me. I can show you tons of videos where they've gotten guys for going to a state where it's illegal, and they caught them coming back, going to a state where it's legal to purchase cannabis, and coming back, and then they bust them in their illegal state due to the flock data. That's all over the internet. Show me some of the videos where they found a kid that had been abducted with regards to the flock data.
I agree with that right there. But again, if you told somebody that they found somebody with a flock camera because they crossed state to go buy cannabis and come back, the biggest part of the population is not going to disagree with that, Heath. Now, I don't have the same opinion about that. I think it's surveillance that's unconstitutionally used, obviously, just my true opinion about it. But the masses of the public, they're going to disagree with you and me all day long. I mean, what do you say, Scrap?
Well, yeah, I mean, anything that has a good use has a bad use. I mean, my pistol I carry on my side is if I run in a situation like that guy in Idaho did at the what is it, the In-N-Out Burger. I'll be that dude walking in there, going toward the fire, not running from it. But same aspect, that weapon can be used in an evil way, and it all depends on who's using that weapon. All men's hearts are evil. No man can be trusted with anything. So any man who's sitting out there and he's sitting in front of a camera and he knows that his old lady might be cheating on him, he's going to be tracing her down, no matter where he goes. And if a little girl is missing and he's more worried about chasing down that guy who's screwing his wife, that guy who's screwing his wife is going to get more important than that little girl who's being trafficked or kidnapped.
Again,
I guarantee you.
I don't disagree with that, but if we're going to make these shows good, we have to find some way in order to be cohesive. And Heath takes it down a whole other trail.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of
And-
good uses, but we've got to let's just look at, okay, right now today, we know there's good uses and there's bad uses. Who technically has access and utilizes the flock camera right now? Is it
Great
most
question.
likely the sheriff's department? Could we
Yes.
agree it's most likely the sheriff? Okay. Now, does the Blount County Sheriff's Department have a good history with regards to use of tools at their exposure?
Okay.
At their
Now, hang
disposal?
on. So for that, I would agree that everybody that's on this show would say no, but there's a big part of the public that would
I
disagree.
mean, how
with
many
that.
times have they tased someone 50 times?
I don't know. Yeah.
There's
Right.
I'm saying, so if we know that we're dealing with authority, okay, and we know
Right.
that usually authority is corrupting. If you put somebody in authority over another, they're going to get corrupt just from having the opportunity to have that authority over. If we already know that, and we've just this week we've seen where now allegedly there's so you're saying there's cops that can drive around through all this flock surveillance, but for some reason
Ghost tags.
they're now okay, give me the good legitimate use for that. What's the good reason? I'll play devil's advocate. What's the good reason for that?
Again, we all agree that that's too much surveillance. There should be none of that. You know what I mean?
I mean, there are good reasons, but if we're limiting if the access to it is limited to only that small handful, and just like following the Information Act request, which they get denied a lot. Okay, so what? I'm not allowed to ask questions. I'm not allowed to block the camera's view. It has to collect data on me, whether I like it or not, and I can't do nothing about it. And only a few can use that data, and a few others can sell that data. And all of this, well, how can I construe it as being anything other than fraudulent?
Right.
I mean, because I don't get to access it.
That's where the American public has to stand up and say, okay, this technology is coming fast, quick, hard.
Right.
And they've got this idea, well, we'll get him in action, and then we'll worry about the consequences later. No, that's not the thinking that we need. We need the thinking that, okay, this is coming up. This is what the technology is doing. Okay, our representatives need to take hold of these other representatives that work for them and say, no, we're not going to. We'll look at it, we'll study it, we'll find out, and see where it leads. But we're going to have to set some legislation up to protect the innocent and the people who aren't doing anything from being surveilled to the point that they're going to find you doing something no matter what.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
That's bad. Even Frankie said something about some sort of internal affairs division. Again,
we need an external affairs division, not an internal affairs division.
We already made the data centers considered military installations. So what happens when you put AI into the data center and you give it and you feed it books, you feed it all of your flock data, and then you let it do its thing? It's going to produce the result that you want.
Agreed.
And then now people like me, oh, well, if you don't have nothing, you ain't doing nothing wrong, you have nothing to hide.
Again, Heath.
You
What did you do? And you have to tell us.
Hey, everything I've ever done,
I've not done nowhere near as much
or
as
bad,
but I feel
it's
that
all
way.
over the internet.
I feel
it's
that
all over the
same
internet.
way.
It's all over the internet.
They declared war on me. They declared war on me.
It don't matter. You cross the wrong line, and you'll find out real quick.
I get it. All right. So let's the discussion's great. I really do. I think it's not a bad idea to have a discussion like that about all aspects of it, all the good and the bad, and even the legislative part of it, because we also know that the people that have been wronged It wasn't easy to get these things corrected. It was.
How did the cameras get there to begin with? I don't remember us voting on them.
Okay, so but now when we talk about elections, you and I believe that elections are manipulated or whatever. So of course, like what Scrappy said a minute ago, they bring them in and then they ask for forgiveness later. And this is where we're at. What, 6-7 years later?
Did we vote on these cameras?
Well, we voted for the representation, supposedly.
No, we didn't have an actual vote. That wasn't on a commission meeting a business agenda. We didn't actually vote on specifically the cameras.
Yes, and it was brought through an agenda to the commission. The problem is, I don't know if they break down the agenda in a way that, and they might. It might be out there for public.
I didn't see the memo for that specific topic on any Facebook groups. Was this brought up at a commission meeting and then just kept secret until the time of the meeting, and the only people privy to that information was the 2 or 3 commissioners out of the bunch that decided to grace the rest with their presence that evening?
Hang on, let me finish. The sheriff submits a proposal for the budget and what she needs. So I'm sure it's broke down so that they can see it. It's just in a resolution number, whatever, and you'd have to go back to when this first happened. But I'm sure it could be found if it's still out there as far as public record. But again, it was that it was passed. If you brought it to the sheriff's attention just the way that you said it, Scrappy, he's going to let you know that, well, you voted for this based on the representation that's at these county commissions or city commissions or whatever. Okay.
Well,
let Scrappy talk.
You're proving my point about elections for me.
It's got a name. It's called the Pelosi effect. You got to pass it before you can read it.
It sounds like our representatives are only representing themselves. Or some other financial interest.
Everybody starts that path thinking that they're going in there to change something because they believe they were wronged in this journey. So they're going to run for some sort of elected office. And then later you find that they just sort of follow suit, because if you're outside of the norm of things, then you're sort of the outcast of the bunch.
And you're not going to get very far.
Steve Michaels is a perfect example. You know what I'm saying? So, not that he couldn't have won a seat again. I just don't think that he thought he was doing any help or any good. Love him or hate him, you know what I'm saying? I just mean, I think that he saw it for what it was while he was in there, and so
you have to pretty much just go along to get along.
But Heath, I've been preaching that, ever since I started this program. So yeah, you go along to get along, and it's not. And so when we expose the things, the cool thing about the Blount County Breakdown stuff is we've been lucky enough to expose some stuff between the county commission and the city commission meetings, and these kind of things where we've gotten it out on social media enough that people never saw that stuff before. You know what I mean? Yeah. They never went to a commission meeting. They only heard things based on the newspaper, what WVLT or something like that had, so, but they have Facebook or YouTube or something like that. So when I posted all that stuff, man, that, we're talking, some of these videos got 700,000 views, man. I mean, I've never in my life had numbers like that. And it just happened overnight, but it woke so many, I'm not going to say it woke them up. I think it just made some people pay attention to something that they weren't normally paying attention to. How long it lasts, I don't know.
Not to change the subject, but to change the subject. I want to know about this fat girl swim party you talked about today.
The what?
The fat girl swim party you was talking about today.
Oh, man.
There was a swimming party?
No, and I'll deal with the rest of that later. So, I just.
Oh, so you went to a swimming party and nobody else was invited, or?
No, I was never invited to any of these parties, and so, but I'm talked about a lot in these parties, and so, and they know that I know that they know, and that's why all I said was one statement was war room, and that's what it triggered. That's all it had to do was trigger that, and I just shared actually what Shannon Kirkland, her opinion of what's going on in District 6. And so by sharing it and adding my small opinion, it's what created that. And So I fully expect that to happen based off of that statement. And so that's why I do that, because the video talks about it itself. But no, it's
I know.
it's
I
neither here.
watched it.
It's
I
neither
watched
here
it,
nor
and I'm
there.
like, I'm gonna give you a hard time about that one.
You can. I probably deserve a little of it. You know what I mean? But again, if we're going to do the things right on Blount County Breakdown, then, when they say they're going to be transparent and all this, here, let's talk about elections real quick.
Well, my biggest thing about that
Scrap.
statement was that she was sitting there talking like she done won that election.
She did. I mean, who knows? You know what I'm saying? I was going to
Like
ask
her
you,
and the other ones.
what website do we look up to see what's going on at the moment with the current elections here in the county? Do you know?
You go to WBCR Talk Radio Live, and Harry's probably doing something on it. He usually does.
There's got to be something that shows live election results here in Blount County.
I am curious about that about the highway. That's one part of the
superintendent, yeah.
Because especially with regards, I remember that Mr. Snow made a comment about over there by the mall. I don't know where you want to call that. Right there, 411, where you come off Foothills Mall Drive on the 411, and you got to crisscross.
Jacked up.
You're trying to go.
Yeah. Where you got two lanes of traffic trying to cross in front of you.
Don't talk over each other. Don't talk over each other.
Yeah, you're making an X. I mean, I've about died there like.
Well, actually, you're making times. Almost an anarchy sign, because you got two crossing over and two going straight.
Yeah, and there's no way that you can do it safely. It's
no.
That's not a long. That can't be a long term. Was that just somebody? We got to do something right now, and we're just going to do this right now, because it makes no logical, coherent sense at all.
Again, if we're going to talk about elections, Matt Snow's a perfect example of they removed him from a ballot based on a committee or a board in Nashville by people who they get appointed by whomever, and they removed him based on they said he wasn't qualified. And yet when you go through Matt's resume, Corps of Army of Engineers, he's got his occupational safety hazard, he went to college, he did all these things, and because he didn't work or run a super or a highway department, that disqualified him. I heard somebody tell me that if you owned a concrete company and you poured driveways and stuff like that, built curbs, that made you qualified to be a superintendent. I don't understand that. This guy built. I mean, that's what the Corps of Army of Engineers does. They do. Don't have to explain it.
And he's of the people with regards to that position that have voiced themselves publicly.
Right.
If I thought elections mattered a shit, which I don't think they do, I would have voted for him. The reason I didn't vote for him is because when it's all said and done, he made a fucking damn good, valiant effort.
Right.
And how is his effort going to be paid for? They're going to just brush him under a rug. I doubt we'll even see how many people actually wrote him in. And even if they do give us that information, it's going to be so obscure, and then everybody's going to be arguing, but he wasn't technically this. That's the point that I'm making. When we get somebody that could potentially influence actual change, well, they're not going to let you have them people. They're not going to let you vote out their crooks and vote somebody that could do a good job in there. And proof of that is the very road I was just talking about. Somebody was actually paid tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars to design that shit. And I'd love to see the collision data on that little crisscross X, whatever you want to call that thing. Not to mention, I've had blowouts. Blew out 2 tires in the same day with a pothole. I called up the county and they said, well, technically we can't do nothing because that's on the state. So I called the state, and the state said, well, you're wrong. That's the county. So I called the county back, and they said, oh, no, it's the state. And that's, long story short.
Plausible deniability.
I went and spent $400 on 2 tires. And
okay. Let's go over the elections as I have them right now. It says that Marsha Blackburn's 45%, Fritz 28%, and John Rose at 26%. Bill Haggerty looks like he won his. I don't think he had anybody against him. Tim Burchett, it shows the check that he won. Looks like Jordan Henderson, 63%, over 36% Tony Crisp. There's going to be a lot of people happy about that, huh? What? Tom Stinnett, because nobody
run against him.
Unopposed.
But see, his is in November too. The independent is Jeff Coggins. So
yeah.
Anyway,
I wrote in Jeff's name anyway.
Let's see. It's showing the Democrat ticket right now. I don't know how they're. House District Karen Gertz. Mayor, right now it's not showing anything. I don't know why. And then all the commissions against their Democratic rival or independent, it doesn't show any update at the moment with any of them, including districts, all of them actually. So, anyway.
Well, it's early. I mean, the polls shut down about 45 minutes ago, maybe. I guess less because they close at 8. They shut down at 8, so it's like 8.
And that Marsha Blackburn.
It's 8:42.
So
it surprised me considering I set up signs. I set up signs at the poll stations for Monty Fritz this morning, and I seen probably 8 Marsha Fritz signs out. Majority of the southern part of Blount County poll stations, none. She had maybe 4 to 5 poll stations that she considered, or her campaign crew in Blount County considered even putting her name on in the at the poll station.
Right. I like Monty over both of them and any of the Democrat. You know what I mean? And he just seemed like he had he seemed like he talks the way that all of us are talking. I guess it would have to, if he wins, it would be nice to see how it shows up in Nashville for sure. But Marsha's bought and paid for.
She's AI. She's them data centers.
Yeah.
Data centers. And that is their
Rose
now.
Is
that's
too.
their big push. Oh yeah, Rose doesn't in his private life doesn't he own a technology company of a sort?
I don't know.
I believe a big farm. He's
that's what I heard too.
A gigantic farm.
Well, I know he's got a gigantic farm, but I think he owns a
corporate
tech
farmer
company of some sort.
It's possible. Who knows? Because I know if they win, they have to. Don't they have to? I don't know. Is it like the president? If you win governor, if you have certain things, you have to, remove yourself from any type of, because it's supposed to help you boost your business or whatever type thing.
I'd run. I'd happily run. My buddy years back ran, and he didn't pay a dime. He just went to. He'd go to the gas station in the mornings and sit down with the old timers. Hey, let me buy you a cup of coffee. I'm going to run for governor. Will you vote for me? And they just laughed at him like, sure, if you show up on a ballot, we'll vote. It was like a joke. And he got I want to say 27,000 votes that year. He was 3rd out of 5, which it's not good, but it's good. It's like if one of us 3 ran, you know? I mean, but like Mr. Snow there, you see what happens. That's the system. That isn't people. You think people didn't vote for him or didn't write him in? Hell no. The system voted against him.
So I do believe that he filed some paperwork that asked them to count the number of people that voted for, just to show whether they do it or they don't do it,
Did they clarify? Okay, so he's underqualified. Has there been criterion? Well, look here. Here's why you're underqualified. Has there been a checklist he could go through theoretically for next year, or, you know.
Right. No, they just basically said that they appreciated the opportunity that he applied for the position, and because he didn't have 4 years or more of highway working for the highway division.
But they have other criteria that they're overlooking that
right.
Yeah.
He's got avenues to different avenues to.
You think that work experience, like if I've owned a concrete business for 50 years, and technically I've never worked for the county doing concrete, but since I've had my own private concrete business, that work experience would count in lieu of some of their other, so-called criteria for being considered.
Yeah.
I mean,
so my biggest thing is he could run for president. He's qualified for that. But he's not allowed to run for highway superintendent based off 4 or 6 people, in Nashville that come up. That's this board, and that right there should be the problem that people should, it's not the fact whether he's qualified or not. He should be qualified based on the fact that he would be standing before the people, and this is my qualifications, and this is what I can do better than Jeff. And then Jeff Hedrick would stand there next to Matt Snow in front of the people and say, well, this is what makes me better qualified, and this is this, that, and the other. And then the people get to hear, and they get to see it, and then they put their check mark on that ballot. But we don't get that. What we get is Jeff Hedrick is already the man that's had the position, been the position, and you have to have a criteria, a certificate, some sort of, major qualification in order to go against him. And so he's never had anybody run against him.
So he's run unopposed. So by running, it's just like the judges. I remember when Brewer, he got his 80th DUI or something or other, and people were like, well, shit, he's at Ramada doing weekends in jail while I'm doing 48 hours here in the county. And it's like, okay, well, to beat him, you have to run against him. And they make it so hard to run against these people. That's why a lot of people don't have any people like me that don't have much faith in the whole election process. That's why, because when we have a problem, we see that there's a need to remedy a problem, and then we find people that can remedy said problem, and then the system says, well, they're not qualified. You got to find somebody else. And by the time it comes time for the election, all we get is the same tired shit that we had from the election before, and they say, well, this is a better reason for you to go out and vote. Now, next year, we're going to do it next year,
And believe me, man, I've preached that message over and over and over again. I mean, we're going through it right now in our own county. They're saying wait till September 1st. There's finally going to be transparency that you don't have to ask for public records requests, this, that, and the other, and so on and so forth. But if you ask one of them a question that deals with their district, man, they're not very nice to you. They don't care. You know what I'm saying?
So they won't. They just won't answer it.
So, we're talking about growth on this end. We're talking about the PPE on this end. We're talking about the AI data center in the middle of the city. Now we're talking about flock cameras all over the county. You know what I mean? And then you go and start talking to the people. Oh, well, we're not for that either. But motherfucker, you passed this, 4 years ago or 6 years ago or whatever. And now you're trying to say this. And then when even if you say it cordially to them, then the next thing you get is, you get this, it turns into what you saw a little while ago. You know what I'm saying? So
fluoride. I remember years back.
Yeah, Kim will tell you that, fluoride.
I went to the county and I said, look, man, I did this water test and the water in Blount County is toxic. It isn't even safe to drink per the FDA regulations. And they said, well, we can show that we just had our most recent test last year and we're not scheduled for another one for 5 years. And I'm like, but the water, it's toxic. It doesn't matter. And I said, okay, well, we retest it, right? And they're like, we'll retest it, but it has to be at one of our a state sanctioned testing center. And unless you have 60% or more of the population density that are seeking the test, then you have to pay for it out of pocket. And I'm like, well, I'm poor white trash, but I could get a hustle together. How much is it? And they're like, well, it'd be $20,000. And I'm like, but the water's toxic. It don't matter. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
And that's one of them things. And it's still. I don't understand why stuff like that. It's still federally mandated. Why we put fluoride in the water?
One thing we got to stop. We aren't putting fluoride in the water. We're putting hydrochloric acid in the water. We're putting a toxic chemical that is a byproduct of oil-fired power plants. It's what comes out of those power plants when they wash the ash down off the sides of the wall. It comes in because they're spraying it with water. It's liquid, and they collect that up, and they were having to pay to take it off and dump it because it's toxic waste. So they come up with this plan. They got the MDA, the ADA, the American Dental Association, to stand behind them and say that natural, clear water was bad for kids' teeth and it was causing them to rot out. So we've got to put this chemical in. We're going to call it fluoride because it does say it's fluorosilicic. It ain't fluoride, but it's got flora in it, so it's fluoride. And we'll get them to push to have this stuff put in our water. Let me tell you something about hydrofluorosilicic acid. I worked in a water treatment plant and replaced a tank, a plastic tank that this thing was put in.
Eat it?
Every 5 years. This is why they do the test every 5 years. Every 5 years, they have to dump that tank, replace it, redo all the concrete inside the building. You cannot walk while that tank is inside that building. You cannot walk in that building without a respirator because the fumes are so toxic, they'll kill you on site. You walk 2 steps in, you're going to die. It eats the concrete up to the point where they have to go in, did it, was part of it, bust all the concrete out, fully covered in anti-chemical, sweating the balls off with jackhammers and redo all the concrete in it. Then they had to replace the roof of the place because the roof of the place was rotting out from all the toxic waste coming off. They had to get lead-lined glass and stainless steel bars that hold the glass in place and set it on top of that roof. After we had to go through and reinforce the thing after we'd busted all the concrete out. So no, it's not fluoride.
Right.
Calling it fluoride is the biggest case that does, and it's a neurotoxin, which means it attacks your nervous system.
Yeah, makes you docile too.
The Germans, Germans discovered it, and they would put it in the water systems of the work camps to keep the people calm and docile because they knew you've got 10,000 people in a compound, you've got 500 guards. It's only going to take 1,000 people to take over them guards and take over that compound. But you keep them docile, they're just going to go along to get along. That's why we have the situation we have today.
Yeah.
We got 5 minutes. 5 minutes, and then we're going to have to
reclaim my time. Reclaim
your time. Reclaim your time. It was the conversation with the flock's very interesting. You know what I mean? And so,
it's going to be
well, they're trying to safeguard this data for. There's a reason that they're not giving you access to the data and everything about the data, including your go to Kroger's and tell them you want to see the data from their fucking shopping carts. It's the same thing. The data. Now we're even building storage facilities to store this data, and we have to classify them as military installations. Why? Because eventually people are going to start figuring out what they're using this data for. And it ain't got nothing to do with sending you a ticket in the mail because you were speeding, or to catch you not wearing a seatbelt, or so that your neighbor's dog gets lost, they can help you find it.
All right, hang on. What's going on at Rural King Saturday, Woody? Is that a flock camera thing for Adam Lee or something like that? You guys heard of it?
No.
Rural King Saturday. I haven't been on Facebook since
I was at Royal King Saturday. I seen them.
What did they have going last Saturday? What was that? Like a swap meet or something?
Going to
last weekend.
It says Saturday morning, so I don't know. I don't have a clue.
You don't have any chickens?
I don't have no chickens. No.
I do.
No.
That's why
I do too. I do too. I love my little girls. Yeah.
He says,
I like my little Bainies better.
Yeah, I do too. I do too.
The Bainey roosters. They funny.
Yeah.
Daryl said he was thinking about having a glass of water, but the hell with that.
Filter it, brother. Get you a Berkey. Get you a Lexapure. Get you anything. Get you a. I know Brian's got a what is it? Distillery. So I mean, he distills his, but he adds a little extra to it. You know.
Yeah, the lady that she's talking
Heather.
about Heather.
Yeah.
That's why I was saying it was the Adam Lee thing. Yeah. I would like to try to be there for sure.
Which one? The one in Leno City or the one here in Maryville? Or no,
I think it's at the old Maryville here.
Kmart.
Yeah. I think she was on some big time news today. She sent me a message and said, I won't confirm or deny it yet, but some sort of national news was supposed to call and interview her. So I don't know if that happened for her or not.
I know.
That was pretty cool.
On David Knight, he talked about it this morning too, and her. He mentioned her by name. So.
Right. And then you got Ed in the chat talking about the aluminum, and Ed and Kim talking about the courthouse buying pallets of water after they put the fluoride in the system, because she was a part of the same thing, Heath, when it came to trying to battle that there,
And the local people were the ones that were the big letdown. I had I had a few hundred, maybe 1,000 people that signed the petition, and of that, less than 3% of them came from locals.
Yeah,
it's like people. It's a. I don't know. Good old boy club doesn't even really do it justice, but kind of, sort of. It's like I can talk about local. It's like when I got my gun charge. Everybody knew I was innocent, and none of the, the people all across America were like, "Well, that's fucking bullshit." And my local friends, people that were even with me the day of, nobody would go to court. Nobody. It was like, well, I can't be sent in court with you on that. I don't need them. I can't lose my job. I can't. And and that's how it is with a lot of the things that we're facing right now. Our roads. I bet you our roads don't get better this year.
That's true. All right, it's 9 o'clock. So Scrappydog, reclaim your time. You got 1 minute, brother. What do you got to say?
Just get out there and be vocal. Don't hide in your house and play keyboard warrior. Get out there and actually do something.
All right. Well, guys, it was a good show tonight. It was a lot less talking over each other. I appreciate that. You all have a good one.
Peace out, everybody.
Peace out.
See you later, Scrap.
You got it, brother.
All right, guys. 9 o'clock was a big voting day. I voted today. I don't hardly ever vote early, but that's just the way I am. And so I'm curious to see how this turns out near the end. Everything I've looked at so far, I can't find like an updated of everything of Blount County. It just shows a little bit, basically showing you what's going on with the governor. But when it broke it down to commission and mayor and all that, except for the ones that were running unopposed, other than that, I couldn't find any much more information than that. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Hit the thumbs up, and you all have a good evening. Resolute Exposure is a social media platform. Almost all content on Resolute Exposure is created by citizen journalists. I share content created by citizen journalists who I believe to be the best at finding facts buried deep into the abyss, or outlets who I believe to be best for verifiable information. We have to operate within their system, and we only have the information that they allow us to have. These citizen journalists who nerd out on fact-finding missions and then add their opinion to better inform me to make the best choice for me in this war of narratives is Resolute. This information war is a battle for your mind and ultimately compliance. While mainstream media dismisses social platforms as mere echo chambers for fake news, independent spaces like this prove that shared content and live dialogue actually foster deeper critical thinking. So, I am excited to share the content in hopes you'll turn off mainstream media, who I believe is just a version of entertainment. So again, welcome to Resolute Exposure.